Welcome back. You're watching The Full View. Well, AgriSA President and member of the Presidential Advisory Panel of Experts on Land and Agricultural Reform, Kriek, says that AgriSA does not agree with the recommendation on the land expropriation without compensation. Well, Kriek earlier refused to sign off on the report and also instead tabled an alternative report setting out the organization's own perspectives on the land reform. He now joins us via phone line this evening. A very good evening to you, Mr. Kriek. We thank you very much for your time on The Full View. Well, firstly, AgriSA's biggest problem with the Presidential Advisory Panel of the experts report is land expropriation without compensation. You've further gone on to say that there's no legal reason or consensus to do this. Why is that?
Yes, I would like to, good evening to the viewers first of all. Yes, expropriation without compensation and the proposal by the panel to propose an amendment to the Constitution was the biggest problem, and as you correctly stated, there is no legal technical reason why we should do so. There are many political reasons, it seems, that we wants to change the Constitution, but for us that is unacceptable. So that was one of the main reasons. But we also supported a whole range of proposals within the panel report. So that is why I stated that it is not a minority report in the true sense of the word. It is a supplementary report. And I think the point, everybody misses the point that we actually supported a whole range of proposals within the main report.
Now take us through some of the strict conditions in that report for expropriation without compensation that has been set out.
Can you just repeat the question?
There were a number of conditions that have also been tabled in this report going along with the expropriation of land without compensation going forward. Can you take us through some of those conditions?
Are you referring to other proposals that we were not satisfied with?
Yes.
Yes, okay, so obviously the amendment of the Constitution was the top one. Then there were further suggestions that we need to amend the Constitution to move the 1913 cutoff date earlier, and also to possibly amend the Constitution to have a moratorium on evictions. And then, in our opinion, there was an insufficient focus on economic realities. There's also a mention of a land tax. There's the problem of title deeds versus state ownership of land. There's a hard and fast compensation formula. And then the point, administrative determination of a compensation versus adjudication by the courts. We believe that the courts should look at each case on a case-by-case basis, and then maybe insufficient focus on the national development plan, insufficient focus on best practice models. We have a panel report on land reform, but we are not clear on the practical steps that we need to take, and that is why in our supplementary report we have a complete storyline on the proposals on how the private sector can get involved in land reform, and we have a number of proposals regarding that.
There also seems to be in the report that was tabled by yourselves, the alternative report, with regards to some of the issues that weren't reached on consensus, issues of land tax, issues of class gender, also issues on protection of farmers and food security. Can you take us through your side and your recommendations that you've made on that basis?
Okay, so what we propose from the private sector, and there's a lot of progress in this regard now happening out there. There's lots of work. Everybody is working on this. A land reform fund and agri-development agency. Those are the two top ones. So in terms of the land reform fund, there's huge debate out there now whether we should restructure the land bank or we should have it positioned in the private sector. We are promoting joint ventures and farmer support, and then the enablers, the incentives. We need incentives for the private sector to participate, and then we need to do better in terms of beneficiary selection. So there's a whole storyline on models and financing and agricultural finance and plans that worked in the past, and we dwell on that extensively. And I hope that it stimulates debate on how the private sector can play a role in terms of land reform.
Now, essentially, what happens next for AgriSA in not being unanimous in the report that was tabled, going out on land compensation without, or land expropriation rather, without compensation? Where does AgriSA actually stand in the report that was released today?
Okay, I think first of all, I want to say to the viewers, I think everybody must do some reading now. Because I see that the media today is only focusing on the controversial issues. So first of all, I think everybody has to do some reading and read the main report and read the supplementary report, and then maybe take a leaf out of the book, from the book of the Minister of Agriculture this morning. I thought the Minister, Tokodiza, did very well on television this morning, and she immediately brought calm. She immediately took everybody to the complexity. Some of these issues and proposals will cut across various departments. And then she also said they will look at all the proposals. And I think the position that Cabinet has taken to give all the ministers 2 months time to dwell and to study on it just tells me that she has a measured approach, and I think there will be lots of debate now, and that is good, and that is why I say everybody should read it, and hopefully it stimulates debate. But from our side, we will continue with implementation of projects of establishing new farmers, of agricultural development in the communal areas. We will not stop, and we will continue because we are committed.
Thank you very much for your time this evening. That was AgriSA President Dan Kriek giving us their views on the alternative to the panel's land reform report, as well as a review on that land panel report that was released today.